There is a hidden law that governs the success of every millionaire, a silent, unseen current flowing beneath the surface of ordinary life. It is not taught in schools, nor broadcast on television. It whispers through intuition, nudges in dreams, and reveals itself only to those with eyes to see and ears to hear. This law is not about hustle or grind. It is about alignment. It is not about luck, but about law, divine law. You see, reaches are not the product of chance. They are the natural outgrowth of inner conviction. Every millionaire, whether they knew it consciously or not, first became rich in their mind before they saw even a dollar in their hand. They aligned with an inner law that says, I am one with opulence. I am one with success. My supply is infinite, unfailing, and immediate. To understand this law, we must cast off the fog of fear and limitation. The world of appearances says, there is not enough. You must work yourself to the bone to earn your bread. But the spiritual law says, there is no lack in the kingdom. All that is mine by divine right now pours into my life in perfect timing and perfect expression. Every millionaire has, at some point, activated this law through boldness of word, clarity of vision, and unshakable faith. They may not have called it spiritual law. They may have named it mindset, vision, or focus, but they were practicing the same truth. They spoke wealth into being, even when their pockets were empty. They saw gold in the field long before they picked up a shovel. They moved forward with certainty when the world called them foolish. Words are powerful tools of creation. Every declaration sends a vibration into the invisible ether, calling forth people, opportunities, and resources. The man or woman who repeats, I am a money magnet, prosperity flows to me with ease, is not merely reciting a wish, they are chiseling truth into the fabric of reality. Words, when spoken with belief, become forms. Thought clothed in conviction becomes circumstance. You cannot live a rich life if you are married to poverty in your thoughts. You cannot dine with kings if you are loyal to lack in your speech. The millionaire's secret is not in the business plan, but in the consciousness that created the plan. They do not chase money. They magnetize it. They do not fear bills. They bless them, knowing that every payment is a declaration of abundance. When one begins to understand this law and walks in it with faith, miracles become daily events. The phone rings with unexpected opportunities. The right people appear at the right time. Deals unfold with grace and ease. This is not fantasy. It is the outworking of law. And so we begin. Let us set aside the world's noisy counsel and listen instead to the whisper of the infinite. Let us speak only that which we desire to see. Let us walk as though our feet are guided by unseen hands and our path laid by divine intelligence. For when we know the law and align with it, wealth is no longer a struggle. It becomes our birthright revealed. Wealth begins in the mind, not the bank account. This statement may seem simple on the surface, yet it carries within it the entire foundation upon which true prosperity is built. Every millionaire, every person who has ever risen to financial greatness, has first become rich within themselves, long before they touched the physical symbols of wealth, money, homes, investments, luxuries. They cultivated a deep and unshakable mental atmosphere of abundance. They believed in wealth before they possessed it. They expected wealth before it arrived. They spoke wealth even when their surroundings offered no visible proof. The mind is the workshop of creation. All things that exist in the world, every building, invention, business, fortune, first began as a thought, a picture held steadily in someone's consciousness. The millionaire is not merely a lucky person or a hard worker. They are, most of all, a thinker of powerful thoughts, a seer of invisible riches, and a believer in unseen laws. Their greatest asset is not found in a stock portfolio or a bank vault. It is their ability to hold a prosperous vision regardless of outer appearances. When the average person sees lack, the millionaire-minded individual sees potential. When the world says recession, they hear opportunity. This is because they do not let circumstances dictate their thinking. They know that outer conditions are temporary, but the mind, the true creative force, is eternal and powerful. If the mind is steeped in the truth of abundance, then circumstances must eventually conform to that inner blueprint. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen. That is law. Many people misunderstand the source of wealth. They believe it comes from labor, from connections, from education, or from luck. While these may play a part in the visible unfolding of riches, they are secondary. The real source of wealth is invisible. It is the inner conviction that supply is available, that one is worthy of receiving it, and that life is naturally abundant. Without this inner foundation, all the effort in the world becomes toil. Without the prosperous mindset, even great opportunities may slip through one's fingers. On the other hand, with the right mindset, even small steps lead to great breakthroughs. Wealth is a vibration, a frequency. It is not just about having money. It is about thinking in terms of expansion, generosity, freedom, and infinite possibility. A person can have no money in their wallet and still be wealthy in consciousness. That person, if they hold fast to their vision, if they speak words of abundance, and if they act in faith, will eventually draw the resources they need. Why? Because the law responds not to appearances, but to belief. The law does not care if your current reality looks empty. It responds to your word, your thought, your emotion. To be wealthy in mind is to know without doubt that everything you need is already yours in the invisible realm. It is to live in the feeling of success, even when success seems far off. It is to refuse to entertain thoughts of failure or limitation, to turn away from the opinions of the fearful, and to root yourself in the truth that divine intelligence is always supplying you, guiding you, and prospering you. The person who holds this kind of mental atmosphere becomes a magnet for wealth. They draw ideas, people, and opportunities without strain. Their actions are inspired, their decisions are wise, and their timing is divine. This mental wealth must be cultivated daily. Just as a garden requires tending, the mind must be weeded of fear, doubt, and limitation. Thoughts of scarcity must be replaced with thoughts of plenty. Complaints must be replaced with gratitude. Worry must be replaced with calm expectancy. You cannot sow thoughts of poverty and reap a harvest of riches. The law is exact. You must think wealth, speak wealth, and act as if you are already wealthy, even if your physical reality has not yet caught up. That is how the millionaire mind operates. Children play pretend without hesitation, and in their imagination they are kings, astronauts, superheroes. They live fully in the role they choose to embody. Likewise, those who become wealthy first imagine themselves as wealthy, and they do so vividly, consistently, and with conviction. They do not shrink from bold thoughts. They see themselves traveling, building, giving, creating, and enjoying the fullness of life. They do not say, "I can't afford it," but rather, "How can I align myself with the means to enjoy it?" They ask different questions because their mind is operating from a different level. True wealth begins with self-image. If you see yourself as poor, struggling, or undeserving, you will sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. You may attract a windfall, but it will slip away because your inner thermostat is set to lack. Change your inner setting, and the outer world must follow. Millionaires see themselves as creators, not victims. They take responsibility for their outcomes. They do not blame the economy, the government, or their past. They know that their thoughts today are shaping their tomorrow, and so they guard their thoughts with diligence. Affirmations are a key tool in cultivating a wealthy mindset. When you say, "Money flows to me easily and frequently," you are not making a wish, you are making a declaration. When repeated with feeling, belief, and consistency, such words rewire the subconscious mind. The subconscious accepts repeated words as truth, and once it accepts a belief, it works tirelessly to bring it about. You may find yourself drawn to new ideas or meeting the right person at just the right time. That is not coincidence. It is the result of inner alignment. There are those who scoff at this idea. They say, "You can't just think about money and expect it to show up." But they miss the point. Thinking is not passive. True thought is a force. It leads to inspired action, guided choices, magnetic energy, and unwavering faith. The person who thinks richly will behave richly, not in foolish spending, but in confident movement. They will not hoard, but circulate. They will not shrink, but expand. They will not hesitate, but trust. This is the rhythm of wealth consciousness. The bank account is a reflection, not a source. It is a result, not a cause. If you want to change the numbers in your account, you must first change the numbers in your mind. Think in terms of plenty. Speak as one who expects increase. Feel as if what you desire is already yours. Visualize with clarity. Bless your current money, no matter how little it seems. Give thanks for what is and give faith for what is coming. The person who does this consistently will be surprised at how life rearranges itself in their favor. Spoken words create financial reality. This is not metaphor or poetry. It is spiritual law in action. Words are not just sounds, they are forces. They are containers of energy, shaped by thought and propelled by belief. Every word spoken is a seed, and like all seeds, it carries within it the potential to grow, multiply, and bear fruit. Those who understand the creative power of language know that the mouth is not merely for communication. It is an instrument of manifestation. Millionaires, whether they are aware of it consciously or not, speak their wealth into existence. They use language that reflects success, expansion, and certainty, even before the evidence shows up in their material world. What you consistently speak about, not, you eventually experience. Your words reveal your true beliefs and your inner state of mind. You cannot habitually talk about being broke, struggling, or unlucky and expect to attract wealth. You cannot curse your bills, complain about your salary, not, and lament the cost of living without anchoring those very conditions more deeply into your life. The universe listens to your words as instructions. When you say, "I never have enough money," you are not just describing a temporary situation. You are issuing a command. You are saying to the infinite supply, "Continue to deliver this same experience." And it will obey, for the law is impartial. The millionaire understands this, and therefore guards their tongue. They do not speak of poverty, not even in jest. They do not entertain language rooted in fear, scarcity, or complaint. Instead, they speak with authority. They speak as if their words carry weight, because they do. They declare, "I am prosperous. I am a magnet for money. Everything I touch turns to gold." They speak about the future with certainty, as if the outcome is already assured. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. They know that spoken word is creative word, and they choose every sentence with intention. Many people believe that words are neutral until action is taken, but the truth is that words are action. They are the first stage of creation. Before a building is constructed, someone must first describe it. Before a business is launched, someone must speak the idea aloud. Before money changes hands, conversations must take place. Nothing begins without language. Every invention, every fortune, every breakthrough can be traced back to a moment when someone said something new. To speak a new word is to begin a new destiny. The subconscious mind, that powerful engine that runs beneath the surface, responds to repetition. It does not judge or filter. It accepts what is consistently heard, especially when spoken with emotion. If you constantly say, "I can't afford that," Your subconscious locks that in as a truth. It begins filtering your thoughts, decisions, and behavior through that belief. You overlook opportunities, reject abundance, and sabotage your own progress, all because your inner world has been programmed by careless speech. But when you affirm, "Money flows to me easily," your subconscious starts scanning for evidence to support that idea. You begin to notice solutions instead of obstacles. You meet people who open doors. You find yourself acting with more confidence and trust. Speech is the bridge between thought and reality. A thought kept within the mind remains potential, but once spoken, it becomes a vibration that travels outward, touching people, situations, and circumstances. The energy of your words can attract or repel, build or destroy, bless or curse. When you speak with faith and purpose, you are aligning yourself with the creative force that shapes the universe. You are giving direction to the unseen substance of life, molding it into the form you desire. This is not mystical fluff. It is law as exact and reliable as gravity. The words you speak about money matter. If you say, "Making money is hard," that becomes your experience. If you say, "I attract wealth with ease," you begin to walk in that truth. Words are like programming codes. Your life is the software that runs according to the code you speak daily. Millionaires code their reality with empowering, expectant language. They speak in terms of possibility, increase, and gratitude. Even in moments of challenge, they speak words that lift, not limit. They declare the solution even while the problem still lingers. It is not enough to merely think positively if your words contradict your thoughts. The power is magnified when thought and speech are in harmony. You must train your mouth to serve your vision. Catch yourself when you speak doubt and immediately replace it with truth. If you catch yourself saying, "I'll never get out of debt," change it to, "Every day, I am moving into financial freedom." If you start to say, "Business is slow," replace it with, "New clients and sales are showing up every day." Speak as if your desired reality is already unfolding. Speak with certainty, speak with joy. The act of speaking wealth does not mean pretending problems don't exist. It means refusing to give those problems more energy than your vision. It means choosing to focus your words on where you're going, not where you've been. The more you speak about what you desire, the more your entire being aligns with it. Your thoughts, your actions, your emotions. And once you are aligned, manifestation becomes inevitable. There is power in speaking aloud your intentions. When you say, "I am building $1 million company," something within you awakens. You step into a new posture. Your mind begins organizing itself around that idea. You become bolder, more focused, and more disciplined. The words you speak become a script, and your life begins to play the part. This is why declarations and affirmations are so powerful. They are not just motivational, they are generative. They create momentum in the invisible realm. Children learn by repetition. They memorize words, phrases, and ideas by hearing them again and again. Adults are no different. The more you speak words of wealth, the more they become part of your identity. Soon, you no longer have to force them. They become natural. You begin to speak from the frequency of abundance, because that is who you have become. Others feel it. Doors open. Opportunities come. Money flows. Not because you forced it, but because you spoke it into being, and the law responded. Faith and vision activate divine law. This is the inner mechanism behind every lasting success and every true manifestation of wealth. Without faith, the words are empty. Without vision, the direction is lost. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Vision is the clear inner image held steadily in the mind and heart, despite what the outer world may say. When these two forces, faith and vision, are joined, they become an unstoppable current. A spiritual electricity that charges the atmosphere and draws form from the formless. The world often teaches that one must see to believe. But divine law works in reverse. You must believe before you see. You must hold the vision before it becomes visible. Every millionaire, every great creator, Every leader of wealth has practiced this unseen principle. They saw the outcome in their mind's eye long before it arrived. They walked with the feeling of success long before they were applauded. They believed in the possibility of their dream even when others doubted. This is not wishful thinking. It is deliberate alignment with spiritual law. Faith is not just a passive hope. It is an inner knowing. It is calm assurance in the unseen. Unwavering confidence that what has been imagined is already taking form. Faith does not waver when results delay. Faith stands firm in the silence, in the absence of evidence, knowing that spiritual substance is always working beneath the surface. Divine law does not forget. Every vision backed by faith sets a process in motion. The timing may vary, the method may shift, but the outcome is inevitable when the mind and heart stay aligned. Vision is the blueprint. It is the image you hold with clarity and feeling. It is not simply a daydream or idle fantasy. It is a sacred design etched deeply into the inner mind and revisited daily with gratitude and certainty. Vision brings direction. It allows energy to focus. Without vision, actions scatter. With vision, every step begins to make sense. The people, events, and ideas that support the vision begin to show up. Not by accident, but by the magnetic pull of focused energy. The clearer the vision, the stronger the pull. Millionaires think in pictures. They visualize the result with vivid detail. They see the office, the bank account, the lifestyle, the impact. They rehearse their future in the mind as if it is present. They do not hope vaguely for more money or better days. They define their vision with precision, then charge it with faith. This becomes their spiritual order form to the universe, written not with pen and paper, but with emotion, belief, and mental clarity. The universe does not respond to vague wishes. It responds to definite vision backed by unwavering belief. There are those who say they have faith, but their words and actions deny it. True faith is not afraid to act. True faith does not need constant reassurance. It does not beg or plead. It declares and moves forward. It builds before the land is visible. It invests before the return is obvious. It steps into the unknown trusting that the next stone will appear. This is not recklessness. It is spiritual certainty. When a vision is truly believed in, the entire being begins to act in harmony with it. The choices become aligned. The behavior changes. The emotions rise to match the new vibration. Faith activates divine law because it declares the unseen as real. It calls the invisible into visibility. It treats the spiritual as more real than the physical. This flips the logic of the material world on its head. But this is how all transformation occurs. The moment you accept your vision as true in the spirit, the law begins to move. The channels of opportunity begin to form. The delays begin to dissolve. The way is made clear. The person with faith walks differently. They speak with assurance. They rest in trust. They expect good. They prepare for increase even when others are preparing for lack. Faith is not blind. It sees more than the natural eye can see. It looks beyond the numbers, the deadlines, the obstacles. It looks at the spiritual blueprint and says, "It is already done." It does not shrink in the face of resistance. It does not complain when progress appears slow. It rejoices in advance. It gives thanks before the delivery arrives. It speaks as if it already possesses what it seeks. This is the highest form of prayer. Not asking, but declaring. Not wishing, but knowing. Not waiting, but walking forward as if it is already finished. Vision, when fed by faith, becomes prophecy. It is not just a future hope, it is a preview of coming reality. You were given that vision not to tease you, but to guide you. It is a glimpse into what is spiritually possible and therefore inevitable if you do not faint. Hold it like a sacred treasure. Guard it from negativity. Feed it daily with your attention. Write it, speak it, feel it, imagine it. It must become so real within you that you begin to inhabit it even while the outer world still shows contrast. Millionaires do not wait for proof to believe. They believe, and then the proof comes. They do not get ready. They stay ready. They train their minds to expect prosperity. They visualize checks in the mail, successful deals, overflowing accounts, and thriving ventures. They do not allow fear to speak louder than vision. When fear arises, they return to their vision and speak their faith louder. They do not argue with doubt. They drown it out with certainty. This is not denial of reality. It is alignment with a higher truth, a deeper reality that shapes all others. Every action taken in faith is multiplied by law. Every step forward taken with belief carries the power of 10. You may not know how, but you know that it will happen. You may not see the path, but you see the destination. That is enough. Divine law responds to faith the way soil responds to seed, with increase. But if you plant a vision and then dig it up with worry, fear, and doubt, the harvest is delayed. You must let it grow. Water it with gratitude. Shield it with confidence. Give it space to bloom. Some wait for perfect conditions before they begin. But the one with faith begins now. They start the business before the investors appear. They write the speech before the stage is offered. They walk through doors that haven't opened yet, because they know the law will open them. This is not fantasy. It is inner conviction. It is spiritual intelligence. When you act as if the vision is real, you invite it into your world with power. The universe bends to match the clarity of your belief. The details fill themselves in. The help arrives. The next step reveals itself. Faith and vision are the codes that unlock the storehouse of spiritual riches. Lack is an illusion, supply is infinite. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in the world of wealth and manifestation. What people often call lack is not a true condition. It is a state of mind. It is a perception shaped by fear, by limitation, by false belief systems that have been passed down from generation to generation. But spiritual law operates on a higher truth. In the spiritual realm, there is no shortage, no poverty, no limitation. There is only infinite substance, not constantly forming itself according to thought, belief, and word. The idea that there isn't enough to go around is deeply ingrained in collective consciousness. From a young age, people are taught to compete for resources, to strive for security, to fear the loss of money, jobs, opportunities. But this fear is rooted in appearances, not in truth. Appearances shift, but truth is eternal. The truth is that the universe is rich beyond measure. The same force that created galaxies, oceans, forests, and stars is the same force from which wealth is drawn. And this force is limitless. It is ever available, ever present, and it responds not to fear, but to faith. Millionaires operate from the understanding that supply is not limited to what is currently visible. They know that money is only one form of supply. Ideas are supply. Relationships are supply. Opportunities are supply. Energy, time, favor, insight, all of these are forms of spiritual currency, and all of them are infinite in their origin. The person who aligns with this truth begins to experience life differently. They no longer chase after money. They no longer hoard or fear loss. Instead, they tap into the flow of abundance by recognizing its spiritual source. This shift in consciousness is crucial. When you believe in lack, you make decisions from fear. You hesitate. You shrink. You settle. You accept less because you believe that more might not come. But when you know that supply is infinite, you begin to act boldly. You give freely. You speak with confidence. You expect increase. You trust that whatever is needed will be provided at the right time in the right way. And because the law responds to expectation, that is exactly what begins to happen. Money is not created by effort alone. It is created by consciousness. It moves through channels, but it does not originate from them. Your job, your clients, your sales, your investments, these are channels, not sources. The true source is always spiritual. When one channel closes, the source remains intact. Another channel can open. This is why those who truly understand wealth never panic when the outer situation changes. They know that infinite supply can never run dry. It may change form, but it can never disappear. Lack is only sustained by belief. If you stop believing in scarcity, scarcity dissolves. It cannot exist without your consent. It is your belief in limitation that keeps limitation alive. When you withdraw your attention from lack and fix your gaze on abundance, you begin to draw abundance toward you. Your energy shifts. Your vibration rises. Your actions change. And the law, which mirrors your inner state, begins to deliver experiences that match your new belief. Affirming the truth of infinite supply is one of the most powerful practices you can adopt. When you say, "There is more than enough," you are not just being optimistic. You are declaring a spiritual fact. When you repeat, "I am always provided for," you are aligning with the flow of divine provision. When you speak, "Everything I need is already on its way," you are activating the law of circulation. These are not just words, they are creative forces. Spoken in faith, they alter the energetic field around you and magnetize the resources you need. Those who understand the illusion of lack do not allow outer conditions to dictate their inner peace. They may see a low bank balance, but they do not internalize it as their truth. They may face a temporary delay, but they do not call it failure. They recognize that appearances are just that, appearances. They are shadows cast by yesterday's thoughts. They know that by changing their belief today, they are reshaping their experience of tomorrow. This understanding frees them from worry. Worry is a misuse of imagination. It is faith in the wrong direction. It is a rehearsal of negative outcomes that haven't happened. When you know that supply is infinite, worry loses its grip. You begin to trust the timing of your life. You begin to give thanks for what is on its way, even before it arrives. Gratitude becomes your foundation, not just for what you have, but for what is unfolding. And gratitude, when deeply felt, is a magnet for miracles. In the realm of divine law, giving and receiving are one and the same. The more you circulate, the more returns to you. Hoarding disrupts the flow, fear constricts it, but generosity, when it is done in faith and not obligation, expands the channel. You become a steward of abundance. You become a place where good flows in and flows out, constantly replenished by the invisible source. This is why millionaires often give boldly. They understand the law. They do not give to get. They give because they are connected to an infinite well, and they know it can never run dry. The illusion of lack also breeds envy and comparison. When people believe that there isn't enough to go around, they begin to resent others' success. But when you know that abundance is limitless, you celebrate prosperity wherever you see it. You know that another's success takes nothing from you. In fact, their abundance is proof of what's possible. It becomes inspiration rather than competition. You stop looking at what others have and start focusing on what you are creating. This mental shift alone unlocks new channels of supply. There is no shortage in the universe, only a shortage of belief in abundance. The trees do not ration their leaves. The sun does not limit its rays. The ocean does not count its waves. Nature is a constant, generous, overflowing display of the principle of abundance. And you are part of that same system. You were not designed for scarcity. You were not meant to live in fear of not having enough. You were made to thrive, to expand, to express the fullness of divine provision in every area of your life. When you align your thoughts, your words, and your emotions with the truth of infinite supply, you enter into the rhythm of abundance. This rhythm is not rushed. It is not frantic. It is calm, steady, and generous. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop forcing and start allowing. You stop doubting and start trusting. This is not passive. It is the most powerful position you can take. From this place of inner certainty, you draw to yourself the people, resources, and ideas that match the vibration of your abundance consciousness. Every time you affirm that lack is an illusion, you dissolve another layer of fear. Every time you declare that supply is infinite, you open another door. Every time you choose to believe in plenty rather than shortage, you step further into the life you were meant to live. Alignment attracts abundance effortlessly. This is not just a comforting phrase. It is a spiritual principle that governs all true prosperity. Alignment means bringing your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, words, and actions into harmony with what you truly desire. It means becoming an energetic match for the life you envision, so that what you are seeking begins to seek you. When you are aligned with abundance, wealth flows not because you chase it, but because you have become a magnet for it. Abundance cannot resist a mind and heart that are tuned to its frequency. Most people live out of alignment. They desire prosperity but think thoughts of fear. They speak about goals but dwell emotionally in doubt. They work hard but carry subconscious beliefs of unworthiness or lack. This inner conflict creates resistance. It disrupts the natural flow of good and makes manifestation slow, effortful, or blocked. The universe does not respond to words alone. It responds to total vibration. You may say, "I want wealth," but if your dominant frequency is worry or scarcity, that is the signal being broadcast, and the law can only deliver what you are in harmony with. Alignment is about coherence. It is when every part of you agrees. When your vision is clear, your words support it, your emotions reflect it, your actions follow it, and your beliefs stand behind it, you become powerful. You create without force. You attract without struggle. Life begins to arrange itself around your inner order. The people, opportunities, ideas, and resources that match your aligned state begin to appear with ease. This is not coincidence, it is precision. Divine law does not guess. It mirrors your internal reality with exactness. To align with abundance, you must first identify and release everything within you that contradicts it. You cannot hold on to fear, doubt, resentment, or envy and expect to live a prosperous life. These emotions carry a frequency of lack. They speak to the universe in a language that says, "I do not trust. I do not have. I am not enough." And the universe, always obedient, delivers more of that same experience. Alignment requires honesty. You must look within and ask, what am I really broadcasting? What do I really believe about money, about success, about my worthiness to receive? Once you uncover the limiting beliefs, you can begin to transform them. You replace them not just with words, but with experiences of truth. You begin to train yourself to feel abundance now, not later. You speak the language of increase. You give thanks in advance. You make choices from a place of wholeness rather than desperation. Every decision becomes a declaration of alignment. You don't wait until the money arrives to feel successful. You begin feeling successful now, knowing that feeling is the signal that summons form. Alignment also requires clarity. You cannot be aligned with what you are vague about. If your desire is unclear, your vibration will be scattered. The universe responds to precision. What does wealth look like to you? What does it feel like? What kind of lifestyle are you creating? Who are you becoming in the process? When you define these answers clearly, you give your mind and energy a target. Clarity focuses the power of thought. It channels your intention like a laser, making your alignment more effective and your manifestations more rapid. Aligned individuals are not ruled by outer conditions. They remain centered regardless of temporary setbacks or delays. They do not allow circumstances to dictate their emotional state. Instead, they choose to dwell in the feeling of their desired reality, regardless of appearances. This is not denial. It is dominion. It is the conscious choice to align with what is true in the spirit, even when the material world has not yet caught up. That spiritual steadfastness is what bends reality in their favor. The body also plays a role in alignment. Your posture, your breathing, your movements. These carry energy. When you carry yourself as someone who is prosperous, you reinforce the belief of abundance within your nervous system. When you breathe deeply, walk with confidence, and move with purpose, you communicate powerfully to your subconscious mind, This physical expression of alignment reinforces the mental and emotional alignment, creating a full body signal that draws matching circumstances. Your environment must also reflect your aligned state. Chaos in your surroundings creates chaos in your energy. Clutter, disorder, and neglect send a message of confusion and lack. But when you curate your space to reflect clarity, beauty, and order, you support your alignment. You surround yourself with symbols of abundance. You invest in your surroundings as if you are already living your desired reality. This is not about extravagance. It is about resonance. Every detail of your environment can either support your alignment or weaken it. Time, too, becomes an ally when you are aligned. You stop rushing, forcing, or panicking. You move in rhythm with divine timing. You take inspired action, not frantic effort. Aligned action feels calm, confident, and purposeful. It is not driven by fear or urgency. It is the kind of action that yields results with ease, because it is backed by full spiritual agreement. When you are aligned, even small actions produce big results because there is no resistance diluting their power. Alignment also means letting go of what no longer matches your frequency. Old habits, toxic relationships, draining routines, all of these create static in your energy. To maintain alignment, you must be willing to release what pulls you out of resonance. This may require courage. It may mean saying no more often. It may mean protecting your time, energy, and attention. But every time you release something that is out of alignment, you make room for something better to enter. You clear the space for the abundance that is trying to reach you. You must learn to trust your inner guidance. Alignment is deeply intuitive. It is not just logical. It is felt. When something feels off, it is a signal. When something feels light, expansive, and joyful, that is alignment. You are always receiving feedback. Your emotions are not random. They are indicators of your alignment. Joy means you are in tune. Anxiety means you are disconnected from your source. Learn to listen and adjust. Your feelings are your compass. Daily practices are essential to staying aligned. Meditation, affirmations, gratitude, visualization. These are not rituals of superstition, but tools of alignment. They keep your energy tuned to the frequency of abundance. They train your mind to focus on what you want, instead of what you fear. They help you remember who you are and what you're creating. The more consistent you are, the more natural alignment becomes. It moves from being something you do to something you are. Alignment is the path of least resistance. It is not about working harder. It is about working in flow. When you are aligned, things fall into place. Ideas come. People show up. Doors open. Not because you fought for them, but because you became a match for them. You stopped trying to make things happen and started allowing them to happen. You trusted the process. You honored your desires. You walked in the energy of completion even while the form was still unfolding. This is the essence of alignment, inner unity that manifests outer abundance.